Here at Entrepreneurial Live in Burbank, California, and one thing I always look to do is learn, grow, contribute, and be awesome. So today is going to be a feeding ground for all of that. Pretty excited for Digiland. Hell yeah.
Welcome to Entrepreneurial Live. We are so excited to have you here.
Best fudging cookies I've ever had. Best fudging brownies I've ever had. I'm going to eat them all, so please make some more. This is an uncomfortable part because everyone's just chilling. I'm going to learn today by listening to people that have had massive success. I'm going to grow by implementing whatever they tell me to implement, be happy to do it and excited to do it. And then I'm going to contribute by sharing what I learn with other people. And that is my definition of being awesome.
It's only a failure if you don't learn from it and you don't figure out, okay, that's what I'm not going to do again, and here's what I've learned and take it forward. We just hear no as the first step to yes. We have a better story to tell, and it'll be more successful in the long run.
What the biggest challenge you guys have faced, and how did you overcome that challenge? I just got done with another panel with Foodsters and at Entrepreneurial Live. I also had Dave and James speak from $1 Million Listing. Repetitive themes from everybody that I've heard speak. Consistency and persistence, and gotta have a vision. Everybody has said that in one way, shape, or form or another. So that to me is conditioning your mind, training your brain to have a big vision, and then training your brain to be persistent and be consistent. Might as well start up every morning naming the things that you're grateful for out loud, and it's a great filter to put on your life. So when I do that, I feel like I accomplish more by 5 a.m. than people do by 5 p.m. And it puts a filter on for my life, and I feel awesome all day long. So I did want to ask, my second question was like, what's the hardest thing that you guys have faced and overcome in doing this?
One is we wanted to get the product more accessible at physical retail, and so that's the greatest challenge, was going from 400 stores to 7,500 stores within a
That's what you guys did?
8-month period. And
you guys did that?
That was by far and away the biggest challenge I think we've faced so
God.
far. Our probably greatest set of mentors are former founders and CEOs of entrepreneurial businesses that have scaled up.
And Ricky's a motivational speaker and business entrepreneur.
Implementational, baby.
Oh, sorry. what do you call it again?
Implementational speaker.
Implementation.
So they'll implement something. They'll increase
I love the video. I shifted my perspective to enjoying the pursuit of that potential, of staying inspired. What do you guys use and what have you translated from your experience as an athlete to stay inspired every day?
I mean, a lot of my drive comes from my pure fear of failure. And so that's what drove me a lot of times in my career to train so insane and do things that other guys weren't willing to do.
Over time, I started to understand, not only understand the business, but you have to be okay with the small gains and the small victories in order to really appreciate the big ones.
What's the best thing that you've learned? Like, who taught that to you, and how did you implement it?
Even now, I learn something every single day. I would say that the best thing that I've learned so far is really to don't get discouraged and kind of stay with the times.
Persistence?
Persistence.
All right, that's been a common thing today, too.
No, for me, it's been persistence. It's lights out. Apparel.
Nice.
I walked in the first couple times, it was like, no, it's not really for us.
Right.
And they just straight up tell you, no, we don't like it.
Just flat out rejected.
Instead of you taking that rejection into a negative way, I'm always driven, but I just can't accept failure, and knowing that I have something that is not the best because they didn't accept it, I had to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. It took a lot to go back and understand what I needed to do better to go forward.
So you learned, you grew, you contributed, and that was awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to tell you this before, but I'm a huge Pats fan. I hated you in the mid-2000s, dude. I hated you. That freaking lights out bullshit drove me nuts, dude.
Look,
got a man crush on Tom. You hurt Tom.
So I'm gonna tell you the funny.
I have like a ritualistic, I set kind of the mood and the mindset of what I want to have happen. When I'm consistent, my will gets stronger. For me, my process is really like, I get up, I set my mood. So would you want to call it priming, meditation, visualization? It can be 30 seconds, it can be 30 minutes. It's different every time, but as long as I do it in some capacity.
The scale of it doesn't matter, the consistency does.
The consistency of the task matters, that I did it. It's not a belief system.
Yeah.
proven science and fact.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's your business?
I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not an inspirational speaker. I'm an implementational speaker. So my goal is when I'm done speaking that you will implement something, take some type of action to increase the quality of life that day, not the next day, not next week, all that shit. So like from a neurological standpoint, from a biochemical standpoint, that will feed that action. So it happens inside out where when everyone, yes.
Systems never fail
Right.
in terms of their reliability.
Thank you, man.
Good luck,
I
man.
appreciate it. Thank
I'll
you.
see you on stage.
All right.
If you do it the same tomorrow, there's no growth. If you attain the same result tomorrow, there's no growth. So how do we get better? Every day, every hour. How do we find those resources? How do we find the energy, the knowledge to do that? At the end of the day, winners win and entrepreneurs make money.
Super cool, kick-ass day. Got to meet Foodsters. Sarah Michigellers is the Chief Creative Officer, and got to meet Sean Merriman. Got to hang out with my main man Dave Meltzer and ask Apollo Ono about his process every morning, and Sean Merriman what was one of his biggest failures that led to his success. Overall, just a kick-ass day and full of awesome.